On the desolate streets of Albuquerque, New Mexico, Rhea Seehorn wanders alone, shell-shocked by what she's just witnessed. Behind the camera, Vince Gilligan makes sure to capture Seehorn's slyly emotive expression as the world crumbles around her. But this isn't the set of Better Call Saul, Seehorn and Gilligan's previous collaboration that also called New Mexico its home. This is something quite different. Technically, the world is ending, but no one really seems to mind except for Carol Sturcker, Seehorn's enigmatic new character. Amid the chaos that includes downed planes and violent car wrecks, a horde of overtly benevolent people ask Carol if she's okay, but she's too scared to answer. This is how Pluribus begins. The series is Gilligan's first outside the world of Breaking Bad in almost 2 decades and a massive new venture for Apple TV, their unofficial streaming home for bold, prestige sci-fi. The new series is joining the ranks of Severance, Silo, and more. But don't expect this to be your average sci-fi thriller for Gilligan, who cut his teeth on The X-Files before releasing 2 of the most acclaimed shows of all time, has a different vision for the apocalypse. Vince Gilligan is stepping outside his comfort zone for Pluribus. It marks a number of firsts for the creator. It's mostly just fear any time you embark on something new, says Gilligan of Pluribus. After working within the Breaking Bad universe for nearly 15 years, the creator was embarking on something entirely new. There's a lot of money on the line, a lot of people's livelihoods. You want it to be a success for selfish reasons, Gilligan notes. After earning years of acclaim for both Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, it would be shocking if Gilligan didn't set such high standards for himself. After all, the former is often cited as one of the greatest television shows of all time, but you want it to be a success, for some slightly more noble reasons, too. One of those reasons lies at the heart of what Pluribus is, an idiosyncratic and original concept that blends Gilligan's grounded sensibilities with a grand apocalyptic vision. There's a lot of fear because it's endemic in the business now. Everybody is much more comfortable doing IP, rebooting stuff that pre-exists, and I think it's stuff they feel is more easy to bet or bank on. Apple TV is no stranger to IP either. Alongside Severance, an original concept, some of their biggest shows are adaptations. Foundation is based on Isaac Asimov's sci-fi novels, while Silo is also a book-to-screen translation with Hugh Howey's trilogy of novels serving as its inspiration. I feel very fortunate that Apple and Sony were behind me doing something completely new, Gilligan tells Screen Rant. That made me feel very flattered and very proud. I want to do good for them because they took a bet on me that a lot of companies won't make nowadays. Given Gilligan's track record, it seems like a pretty safe bet. Though it took some time, Breaking Bad grew into a genuine cultural force by its final season, which aired in 2012 and 2013. Better Call Saul, while smaller in scale, still earned near-universal acclaim during its 6-season run. Gilligan's touch, intensely humanistic even when dealing in operatic tragedy, is largely unmatched. But, even when he was neck-deep in all things Saul, Gilligan couldn't help but wonder what was next. I started thinking about this show probably 8 or 9 years ago, when I was working on Better Call Saul. Gilligan would take long walks around the Burbank, California, neighborhood where the writer's room was located, letting his mind wander to anything but the corrupt lawyer at the center of that series. You're already in the room for 12 hours a day, so you need a break, and I started pondering this idea about a guy who the world is really, really nice to. Everybody loves this guy. They're very solicitous to a degree that's just insane. People will do anything and everything to make this guy happy. Sounds nice, right? That kernel of an idea led Gilligan to do something he'd never done before. I created this show just for Rhea, Gilligan says. After thinking about the story for months, he realized that she'd be great in this thing. But things could have gone very differently. Like Jesse Pinkman before her, Kim Wexler was not long for this world when the Breaking Bad prequel series began. When Better Call Saul co-creator Peter Gould and I hired Rhea, we didn't know where her character was going. But, as Gilligan says, Seehorn made herself indispensable to the series. Gilligan thought of Aaron Paul, who played Pinkman in Breaking Bad. Originally, Gilligan was set to kill Paul's character off at the end of season 1, but he became such an integral part of the show, to the story, to the cast and crew, to the fans, that Gilligan changed his mind. Seehorn's Kim Wexler experienced a similar trajectory, and Better Call Saul was all the better for it. Who is Carol Sturcker and why is she so unhappy? Rhea Seehorn's next role is just as meaty as Kim Wexler. Kim is the beating heart of Better Call Saul. Seehorn is money in the bank, as Gilligan says. It's the same for her Pluribus character, Carol Sturcker, who we first meet at a book signing for the latest novel in her Winds of Waikaro Romantasy series. She eagerly engages with fans after reading an excerpt, all smiles and gratitude until she's alone with her manager wife Helen, played by Miriam Shear. It's in the backseat of chauffeured cars and in the corners of dimly lit bars where Carol lets her true cynical side come out, brushing off the adulation of her fans and denigrating the genre she made her name in. This bitterness is balanced out by Helen's warmth, but it will also quickly become Carol's only thing to cling on to as she faces a new world. Seahorn wasn't concerned about the particulars, though. Initially, when Vince said that he wrote a lead for me, but he wasn't ready to give me the script, I just said yes. It doesn't matter. I don't care. Whatever he wrote was going to be great. Still, that didn't prepare her for the journey she was about to embark on. I only had the pilot for a long time and that was bonkers. I didn't know where the show was going, so what would this world be? Seahorn pondered. And then I had the second one, and then throughout shooting I would get them and it just kept making me question new things. Pluribus is indeed a departure for Gilligan, but there are ways in which the writer-director-creator taps into his unique sensibilities. It's so hilariously funny sometimes in its observation of human behavior, Seahorn says, but then also these deep-dive questions with gun-wrenching pain. Instead of these observations happening in a family or crime setting, though, Pluribus tackles them through the lens of an unconventional apocalypse. Without spoiling too much, it's safe to say that Carol eventually wakes up with the world around her changed, and those who are left are hell-bent on making her happy. She's anything but, though. In the midst of grief and anger, Carol doesn't want to be placated. She just wants answers. But the apocalypse can be an isolating time and Carol spends much of Pluribus's first season searching for the why of it all and, most importantly, answers on how she can fix it. I knew it would be very, very challenging as an actor to play all the things that he wanted. And it's genre-defying, it's switching tones, sometimes within the same scene, Seahorn says of the complex story at the heart of Pluribus. There's nobody I'd rather do that with than Vince.